Education officials propose a policy to improve the overall common entrance exam results. A doctor believes Barbados could escape the label of being the amputee capital of the world. The Barbados-based insurer Sagicor expands its online offerings. And in sports, the Brave World Cup run by the Windies ends on a bleak night in Antigua.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowen. Concerned about the overall performance of students taking the Barbados Secondary School's entrance exam, education officials intend to pursue a new policy to improve the scores. This was revealed by the Education Minister today as the exam results were announced. Rachel Agard attended that press conference and filed this report.
A national standards policy for both students and teachers throughout Barbados's education system. That's what the Ministry of Education wants to implement. Ministry officials will also be reviewing how the basics are taught to students in primary schools. Minister of Education Kay McConney shared the vision while delivering remarks on the results of this year's Barbados Secondary School's entrance examination. Minister McConney says a review of the system over the last decade has raised concerns. She notes that educators cannot continue to be satisfied with 22% of students on average scoring below 50% in the English exam and 46% of students on average scoring below 50% in mathematics.
So we're proposing to have a national standards across our education system that will be transparent for all to see. What are the standards each child needs to have achieved to pass each level on their journey through our education system? We must also ensure that we strengthen the standards and the practice for our teachers to improve the quality of instruction and to improve their professional development so that they can stay on the cutting edge of what it will take to move our children through this system.
Additionally, the ministry will continue to offer a free summer school program to provide additional support for those students identified by teachers and principals as needing assistance. The minister also says principals will now need to be more assertive in meeting with their management teams to effectively plan instruction and conduct assessments of students.
And in seeking to transform our education system to one that is fair, to one that is inclusive, to one that is relevant and modern, we must consider how best to optimize the potential of each of our students.
This year, the Common Entrance exam returned to the original May administration date, with students from 68 public and 26 private primary schools sitting the examination. There has also been a slight increase in 96.1% of students being assigned to public secondary schools compared to 95.4% in 2023. 9 students scored top marks in mathematics compared to 35 in 2023 and 2 in 2022. The national mean for mathematics this year is 54.62%, down from 59.2% in last year's exam. Last year, one student recorded a perfect score in English, while this year's highest score is 98. The national mean dropped to 65.2% compared to last year's 69.5%. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Ariana Bascom of Providence Elementary and Finn Graham of St. Winifred's School are the 2 top performers in this year's 11 Plus exam. Crystal Hoyt has more.
The day of the exam, can you tell me a bit about your experience with the maths and the English paper?
They were okay. They weren't too hard, but they weren't the easiest.
And in terms of preparation for the exam, anything that you had to sacrifice, to give up?
Screen time.
How much screen time?
A lot.
Almost all of it.
Yeah. That's Ariana Bascom of Providence School, one of the 2 top performers in this year's 11 Plus exam. talking about the sacrifices she made to focus on the common entrance. Surrounded by family, the shy 11-year-old, who will be heading to Harrison College, was described as diligent.
Genuinely, I'm very proud of her. I'm grateful for the effort that she has put in on her own, and also the effort of her teachers here at the Providence School from day one right through, that nurtured her in a very, very positive way.
Ariana is a very disciplined child. She's very committed to her work. You know, she put aside all other things when it comes to work.
Her two older siblings go to Queen's College. Principal of Providence was beaming with pride.
I knew that Ariana could achieve great things this year. A little bit surprised, yes, and I was extremely elated when we heard the news. Almost could not believe it, but it's not entirely unexpected. I know that she worked really hard this year.
Over at St. Winifred's, Principal Kim Lewis described the other top performer, Finn Green.
Finn was an early bloomer. He was reading from infancy. He really loves books. He loves documentaries. He loves learning about the world, and I think that really has set him on a good path.
We caught up with him at his squash lesson. Finn says he is happy to be heading to Queen's College, but didn't expect to perform so well based on the exam.
It was scary, but the math seemed okay, but not the English. I expected it to be slightly harder.
Finn said he didn't have to sacrifice anything, not even his 3 extracurricular activities.
I play squash and I play piano, and I like to play road tennis at school.
His mom says she and her husband couldn't be more proud.
Well, I knew he would do well, but I was surprised that it was top of the, tied with the girl top as well. Of course, I cried, and then I had my phone blew up with lots of messages. It was really exciting. We're really proud of him.
The 2 top students both scored 99 in mathematics and 96 in English, with an A in composition. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education has given the assurance that every effort is being made to resolve issues at St. Giles Primary and St. George Secondary. Last Thursday, teachers at St. Giles Primary called in sick, and this was after a similar occurrence 2 weeks earlier. Acting Deputy Chief Education Officer with responsibility for schools, Glyne Price, says, however, that last Friday a meeting was convened which he described as productive and fruitful.
We have made arrangement, in terms of the Principals Association, the Teachers Union, and the Ministry of Education, that we will convene a meeting with the principal, because at that meeting on Friday, the principal did not take part in the discussion, right? So at present, I'm yet to hear the principal's side of what happened and what transpired and some of the issues at St. Giles. Right? So that is where we are with St. Giles. That meeting is due for probably either Wednesday or Thursday this week with the 3 parties.
Meanwhile, St. George Secondary remains closed until further notice. Chief Education Officer Dr. Ramona Archer Bradshaw says officials are working alongside the Ministry of Health and Housing to eradicate an ongoing mosquito issue.
In the meantime, investigations were done by the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Ministry of Housing, and it was discovered that there were 2 large sewage tanks in the constant housing area. And those 2 large tanks malfunctioned, and there was stagnant water where the mosquitoes were reproducing at a very rapid rate. The Ministry of Education will continue to collaborate with the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Housing to determine when it will be safe for our students and staff to return.
The principal of the Dighton Griffith School, Major Michael Boyce, is seeking to allay concerns about plans to host a Gender Day on Thursday. This after what he calls a misunderstanding in the public domain following the circulation of a letter sent to parents and guardians about the activity. In a statement, Major Boyce says the day is an extension of gender prayers, where the boys assemble in one location, the girls in another. He explains that during these sessions, students are engaged in discussions about a range of topics such as conduct, deportment, entrepreneurship, hygiene, motivation, nutrition, and violence. According to the principal, experience has shown this kind of arrangement for such discussions can be more beneficial and effective, especially at confidence building. He says this will be replicated in the activity on Thursday, with sessions facilitated by members of staff and external resource personnel. We'll take a break here, but coming up, a suggestion on how Barbados could move away from being labeled the amputee capital of the world. Barbados needs not to be labeled as the amputee capital of the world. That's the belief of founder and chair of Caribbean Wounds Network, Dr. Simone McConney. While a guest on Morning Barbados, Dr. McConney suggests some people who had amputations did not need to.
As I have moved across the region, every single island thinks that they're the amputation capital of the world.
My goodness.
And that's because their amputation rates are high. And my reality is, okay, if you want to accept that as a label, why are you still doing it 40 years later? Why are you not doing anything about it? So you don't have to have that amputation. I mean, there are some doctors that will say to me, and surgeons that will say to me, they need the amputation or there's no other way. But my thing is, let's try to save first and leave the amputation as a last resort. And most of the time, we are able to get those wounds to heal and get people back to life. 30% of wounds will heal within 3 months.
Dr. McConney says wound care has been a multi-billion-dollar industry across the world, but she notes the Caribbean seems to have been left behind without easy access to knowledge or wound care dressings. Speaking ahead of the launch of the Caribbean Wounds Network on Saturday, Dr. McConney says the group is hoping to change that.
We need to bring the education to the Caribbean. I feel that it's very prohibitive for persons to fly out of the island to go to conferences. It's expensive. So what we wanted to do is to bring it in, make it available, and also to start making dressings available that help to heal these wounds in a faster way, and also to help bring research, create a platform for data, but also, most importantly, create a platform that all of us can share.
3 students are today enjoying the fruits of their labor, this after being adjudged winners of the first polo shirt design competition put on by the National NCD Commission Barbados. Out of a total of 40 entries, some from 20 public and private schools, University of the West Indies student Akibulan Toa won the top prize. Second place went to Brooklyn Maskell of St. Albans Primary, while Haley Scott of the Christchurch Foundation School copped third place. Minister of State in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Davidson Ishmael, says exciting initiatives such as these bridge a gap between a serious topic and the youthful future.
When we see young people taking a big serious topic like this and being able to graphically represent our role, our stake in addressing something like it, I think that this is something that must be commended, it must be applauded, and it must be supported. And that is why the Ministry of Health and by extension the government of Barbados was pleased to support and be a part of this initiative today.
The absence of fathers has been identified as one of the factors contributing to the prevalence of deviance among young people. However, President of the Men Empowerment Network Support, Fabian Sargent, says it's not the only reason. According to him, behaviors are also influenced by the media, communities, and music.
I mean, there are so many different influences that impact the behaviors of these young men. So I wouldn't want to just lean to one particular aspect. However, fatherlessness is also a component of that. You know, we spoke about it. You know, the void that is left, the hurt, the pain, the absence of that male figure being able to, I guess, teach that child, you know, the emotional connection and emotional components of men, how men interact with people, how they interact with the relationships, how they build relationships, how they deal with conflict.
Couple and family therapist Jomo Phillips says while more men are getting involved in child care, there's still a struggle with traditional expectations of a man's role in the family. He believes policy changes are needed to address this.
In terms of challenging that, it starts in terms of our socialization experiences. So to start to rethinking how we try to teach men to be men, and recognizing that men are sensitive and they have feelings, and that we want to help men to be able to connect with that part of themselves, and to also be able to sort of connect with just other people as well too. But it's also at the policy level as well too. So we have particular policies, for example, where we give women opportunities for things like maternity leave, where there are provisions specifically in place for women with regards to caregiving and child care. We also need to make policy changes that include men in terms of that process as well.
The anticipation is building as the semi-finals of the Scotiabank Junior Monarch competition approaches. The 26 semi-finalists who will be competing in the Calypso and Soca categories made an appearance at the second tent of the Junior Monarch competition held at the Queen's Park Steel Shed over the weekend. The performances were well received by the packed audience. Corporate Communications Specialist at the NCF, Tony Yard, says the tents are an opportunity for the semi-finalists to acclimatize themselves with the band, stage and use of mic, among other areas.
When they're done here, they're going to go back into rigorous rehearsals. They have mentorship programs where people look at what they did tonight, point out things to them so they can better themselves, and then we head to the National Botanical Gardens on Sunday, July 7th for the semi-finals. That starts at 7 p.m. Tickets are available on ticketpal.com, the NCF, CS Pharmacy, a slew of ticketing box offices, and you can log on to the NCF Barbados or the Barbados Crop Over Festival social media, Facebook and IG for more information on that.
Ms. Yard says at the end, the names of the semi-finalists who will be moving on to the final stage, scheduled to begin at 7 p.m. on the 20th of July at the National Botanical Gardens, will be announced.
Come out and be a part of this, encourage the next generation of Calypsonians, artists. As I said at the launch, we're celebrating 50 years this year, and while we're paying tribute to what was, we're paying tribute to the foundation. The only way to ensure that there's another 50 years is to invest in programs such as this. So come out and show the juniors your support.
The Business Report is brought to you with the kind compliments of the National Insurance and Social Security Service. More than a contribution, it's your lifeline.
In business tonight, regional insurer Sagicor has expanded its online offerings, adding motor insurance to the mix. Trevor Thorpe reports.
President and Chief Executive Officer of Sagicor Life Incorporated, Robert Trestrail, said the platform allows for the easy comparison of coverage options. He said individuals can now visit elife.sagicor.com, select motor insurance, provide details about their driving history and vehicle, and receive a motor insurance quote within minutes. He said end-to-end online motor insurance coverage is now available in Barbados and the Caribbean.
The addition of our motor insurance is a testament to our relentless focus on customer centricity. We understand that our clients value convenience, transparency, and efficiency. By integrating these elements into our digital offerings, we are not just enhancing the customer experience, but also reinforcing our commitment to meeting and exceeding our clients' evolving needs.
President and Chief Executive Officer of Sagicor General Insurance Incorporated, Keston Howell, said the addition of motor insurance to eLife is one of several digitally focused innovations.
Over the last few years, we introduced features such as our claims portal, providing clients with the ability to file a motor insurance claim without having to visit a Sagicor office. More recently, on a company-wide level, we launched the Pay and Go feature on our Sagicor Go mobile app, allowing clients to schedule automatic, recurring online premium payments.
Sagicor says it's enhancing client experience with cutting-edge online technology. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Managing Director of the Barbados Light and Power Company, Roger Blackman, has applauded employees for playing a major role in ensuring the company had no severe work-related incidents last year. He was addressing the BL&P's Luminosity Awards, themed Today's Vision, Tomorrow's Legacy. Mr. Blackman said workers' participation in ongoing safety leadership development and training has led to the advancement of all the company's 2023 safety goals and targets.
Through your efforts, we achieved 0 high-severity incident frequency, or HSIF incidents, and reduced our lost time injury rate to 0.24. And that's 43% of a reduction over our 5-year rolling average.
Mr. Blackman also disclosed that the 113-year-old company has significantly improved its customer satisfaction service scores and exceeded its 2023 standard of service targets. He further stated that efforts to enhance the BL&P's service reliability status resulted in a 10% improvement in the organization's overall system reliability intensity index. Meanwhile, motivational speaker Raphael Saul is challenging the employees to be bravely brilliant.
And it is that brave brilliance, BLPC, that I want to encourage you to take with you. That you're able to go from a vision to a reality and build a legacy by harnessing the collective value of the individual brilliance that you all bring to this room and to your roles and to your offices and to the highways and byways and streets of our country every single day.
We're back to more sports with Anne-Marie Burke.
I promised track and field as the curtain came down yesterday on the 2024 National Track and Field Championships at the Usain Bolt Sports Complex. Here's a look at the open 200 and 400 meter hurdles finals. Let's begin with the ladies' 400-meter hurdles, where despite it being a field of just 3 starters, Olympian Tia Adena Bell stamped her dominance from the get-go. And what this run will produce was a meet record equaling performance of her time set back in 2019 and now repeated 5 years later. Coming off the bend and into the final 100 meters, Bell looked pretty comfortable, as it was not actually just her and the clock at this point, aiming for that Olympic qualifying time of 54.85 seconds. Over the final hurdle is just that last kick for the line. She falls short of the Paris qualifying time, but equals her meet record of 55.89 seconds. To the men's open hurdles, like the women, just 3 starters, and surging to the front, national record holder Rasheem Griffith. With 200 meters to go, he had Tafari Bishop on his shoulders, as these two were looking to fight it out. By the 150 mark, Griffith put in an extra gear, as this was the business end of things. Still looking very much in control and strong. He's aiming for the meet record of 50.12, his own national record of 48.79, and the Paris qualifying time of 48.70. So how will it go for him? The clock is going. He tires a bit and finishes in 50.54 seconds, out of the records and qualifying, but still a commendable run. Let's switch to the 200 meters ladies. First, a full field of 8 fastest in from qualifying a Nurse, and she made up the stagger early off the bend, and she looks to be in command. But here comes Tiance Waldron and Tiana Boyne to her right. 80 to go, and Nurse seems to have the edge. But watch as Waldron gets some extra power. It'll be down to the finish line. Waldron ahead of Nurse and Boyne. Those signs 24.18, 24.21, and 24.28 seconds. It's a stacked field in the men's 200 meters to close out our nationals highlights. They're out the blocks like bullets, and with the early running from lane number 5 is Johnny Inks, wasting no time to make up the stagger into the final 100, and they dare not call it as yet, as Argon Straker and Q1 Griffith were still in it. But with 60 to go, Griffith engages the North and clears that edge. Here they come to the finish. Griffith, Inks, and Ross Waldron is in for third. The times 20.43, 20.51, 20.79. That's a wrap on Senior Nationals for 2024.
That's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen. For the crew, to all of you, good night. By God's will, we'll see you tomorrow.